Okay, good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another episode of The Tripod, where we break down every single NRL game every week from a betting perspective. This week we will be recapping the preliminary finals, what we've just seen over Friday and Saturday night. As you'll notice, Jacob is usually with us. He's not with us today because he got a little bit sick of not having any NRL or rugby league on Sunday, and he decided to make his way up to Redcliffe to watch the Q Cup final. I think he had some money on the Burleigh Bears, and they did end up winning that one. So congrats to them, and congrats to Jacob filling up his bank account a little bit more. Absolutely epic weekend, and the preliminary final weekend, what a weekend it is. And for you AFL fans as well, you know, if you're a fan of both, it's got to be one of the greatest sporting weekends of the year. And especially for our bets, 6-0 on all our best bets, absolutely swept around, 3-0 on both games, plus capped it off with cashing a $15 multi, which certainly helps as well. That moves us to 23 and 11 in the NRL finals. That's 68%. And for the season, just a quick recap: if you've put $100 on every single one of our best bets, you would be up over $5,500. And if you'd put $50 on every single one of the multis that we'd given out this year, you would be up over $3,000. So not a bad year, that's for sure. We started off a little bit slow, but we've come down the home straight very well, that's for sure. Before I get started into the games, just wanted to remind you guys, if there are any NFL fans out there, I think there are quite a few in our group, in our app. And if you are an NFL fan, you would have seen Nettie does he's been doing them for us for about 3 or 4 years now. Usually it's a written piece in the group, which is about 5,000 words, and it's great, and people love it. But he has shifted gears now, and last week was his first one, but he will be doing a video preview of the NFL round every Sunday at 7:30, and you'll find that one on the Tripod page. So you'll see it there. You'll see a little, video box. You can see, when it's going to start. It's going to be 7:30. So if you like your NFL, if you like your punting, make sure you tune into that one. He is 68% on the year, I believe. And he's given out about 50 odd tips. So he has been absolutely crushing it this year. We will be doing NFL bets as well once the NRL season sort of dies down. But as of now, if you're looking for NFL bets, Nettie is your man. All right, let's start off with the Friday night game. It was the Raiders beating the Rabbitohs 16 points to 10. We did have 3 best bets on the game. As I said earlier, swept all 3. Rabbits to score under 6.5 first half. That one won. And it was a low-scoring game. As we said, we expected both games to be low-scoring. Relatively good defenses all round. Probably 3 of the top 4 defenses in the Raiders, Storm, and Roosters going up against each other this weekend. But the games did play out, relatively as we expected, which, you can't say. It's very hard to do that in a full 8-game NRL slate. But this one certainly panned out the way that we thought it would. Look, I do think that the Raiders were the better team on the day, and I think that they will, give the Roosters a run for their money in the grand final. I think that, the Rabbitohs did get a little bit unlucky in this one, I thought. They had their chances, that's for sure. Look, that bombed try in the first half, I think it was Campbell Graham streaking down the left-hand side, had an overlap, could have passed it, and then ends up taking the tackle, passing it off the ground, and they call that one a no try. And then they got unlucky as well. Cody Walker just streaks through a hole, and it looked like he dropped it over the line, but no, who was it again? Hodgson is there for the one-on-one strip over the try line. So, the Rabbits kind of butchered 2 tries that they could have had in the first half that would have had them leading into halftime. So got a little bit unlucky there. But look, the Raiders have been the better team. I thought they were the better team on the day. And they got a little bit lucky in this one, to be fair. I mean, I know that the final score sort of says, the Raiders were certainly better and the Rabbits get a late try there to sort of bring it back. But, that first Raiders try was just absolutely ridiculous. And let me know what you guys think. But look, that has been grounded in goal all year long. I've seen that called every single time this year. Never, ever once this year have I seen that called, not grounded in goal. If he got up and then got out of the in goal, Dewey this is, they would have called him back and said, nah, sorry, mate, you grounded the ding goal. So I can't get my head around that call. If anyone can please explain it to me, that would be great, because honestly, I think that the Raiders got a little bit lucky there. I'm certain that has been called grounded in goal all year long. But props to the Raiders. Look, in the last 20 minutes, they get a man sin binned, and they're playing with 12 late. The Rabbits are attacking their line set after set. I swear it seemed like they had like 8 sets in a row on the Raiders goal line, but they stood tall. And it's like, I don't quite know. Maybe it was a combination of both. But firstly, the Rabbitohs did look a little bit gassed in the final 20 minutes there, and they weren't putting on the best plays. Like, it wasn't the Rabbits team that we saw in the first 8 weeks where they were just crushing people, and like Cody Walker was awesome, just hitting holes. He wasn't doing that as much down the stretch of the season. I know that, he broke the line, he attacked the line a couple of times in the first half, which is what we've all wanted him to do. And then he kind of stopped. And those 2 times where he attacked the line with pace, he nearly broke through. And I didn't see that once in the second half, which was a little bit disappointing for the Rabbits. But geez, you got to hand it to the Raiders. Just set after set after set on their own goal line with 12 men. They come out and they do not concede late. So props to the Raiders there. I thought that, the halves certainly played better on the Raiders side. I thought that Cody Walker was decent in the first half. Like I said, a couple of line breaks where he actually attacked the line, but then after that he stopped. And, Reynolds, I think, was just beat up from a long season. He has just basically been the walking wounded, and especially in that game, I think he aggravated something else, and he really didn't look like himself, down the stretch there. Shanked a ball out on the full where I think he was trying to just like preserve his body not to get hit. So, disappointing for Rabbitohs fans there. The one good thing to come out of the Raiders camp, I guess, everyone would have been worried about Papali's hit, gets on report, basically knocked out Dewey. Looking at that in real time, it looked pretty terrible. But then once you watched it in slow-mo, look, he didn't hit him that high. It was more so, the shoulder rather than the forearm that got him, sort of at neck height. So he's been cleared to play next week, and I think that's a good thing. I don't think that tackle was necessary. I know that, you should have similar rules in terms of, who gets to play the following week in the regular season and in the finals. But I think, to miss a grand final for that tackle would be wrong, in my opinion. So I am happy that he gets to play, and certainly that is a massive boost for the Raiders, because, I mean, he has scored late solo tries now in 2 games in the last, 4 or 5 weeks that have been absolutely critical. That solo try from him in this one put them up 2 scores and put the game to bed. So he is an absolute beast, and they will be happy that they have him next week, because they'll need it. They'll be taking on the Roosters, who beat the Storm 14 points to 6. We had 3 best bets on this game as well. Even though we did think that the Roosters would be too good in this one, the line of 4.5 seemed pretty much fair to us. So we took either team to win by 10 or less points. That one obviously came in fairly easily. I mean, if Roosters scored a late try, we would have been cooked there. But look, the game seemed fairly close for the whole game. We took neither team to score 3 unanswered points. That was never in doubt. No team got to 2 tries in a row, let alone 3. And another one that was a pretty easy winner for us was the under 34.5 points. That one got up as well. What a crazy game. I think Roosters do deserve to be in the grand final. Storm probably deserve to be there with them, but unfortunately that's not how the draw broke. But in saying that, we get to see an absolute cracker of Roosters versus Storm, and then we get to see an absolute cracker of Roosters v Raiders next week. And I think that, we couldn't have asked for a better grand final the way that the prelims shook out. I think that Roosters v Raiders is certainly a grand final that I am going to want to watch, that's for sure. What a crazy start to this game. 2 sin bins in the first, 10 seconds? 20 seconds? Biffo starts, Taukeaho gets sin binned, Nelson Asopa Solomona gets sin binned. Just crazy. So they're playing with 12 on each side for the next 10 minutes. What a crazy start to this one. First try from Roosters, I thought they got a little bit lucky on that one too. Tupu catches the bomb. He's surrounded by dudes. 3 Storm dudes on him. Somehow manages to fucking get his arm free and flick a pass back to Boyd Cordner, who just plants it down because this was all in the in goal. So that was fairly lucky. But look, I thought that the game was fairly even for most of it. Storm had their chances down, 2 points at 8-6. They had numerous opportunities there, and just couldn't get it done. But I thought that the Roosters, like we've kind of said throughout the season, they were primed for this game. They had rested players strategically throughout the season. They took their time bringing Boyd Cordner back and, just resting guys through that origin period. I think they really knew what it was going to take to go back-to-back this year, and I think they're absolutely primed for this game and also for the grand final next week. So basically a fully healthy team here. Not for except, but I did see a comment flow in there about the Keary tackle. I thought that one was pretty bad, to be honest. I get that Kalfusi came in and palmed him to the face, but you can't then go and not only pull out, not just pull Kalfusi's hair, pull out a whole basic 2 dreads out of his head. That's bad enough as it is, but then he comes in late as fuck and delivers a swinging arm right to the chin. I thought that was far worse than what Papali did. And look, in saying that, I know that Keary does get off this one and he does get to play next week, which, I'm fine with, I guess. But I would say that it would be absolutely diabolical if Keary got to play in this one and Papali didn't. And that's kind of why I was saying that, I'm glad that Papali got off there because, look, if he had to miss that one and Keary got to play next week, I think that would just plain be wrong because I thought that the Keary one was way worse than what Papali did in the first game. But look, at the end of the day, these teams, fairly even. We said it all year. Storm were, a historically good team throughout the regular season, but the Roosters were just primed themselves for the finals, and you saw it here. And I think, honestly, not only the difference was the halves, I thought the Roosters' halves did play better, but it's just getting those game breakers, down the stretch. And Tedesco scores the try to get them, from 2 points up to 8 points up there late. And it was basically out of nothing. And it's when you have these superstars on your team that can just break a game open with a solo try, like your Tedescos, like your Josh Papalis in the previous game. It helps so much. But look, and just going back to the Keary play. Look, Kaufusi had to miss the entire game, and that happened in the first half. So, I'm not saying that it changed the game massively or it would have changed the outcome of it, but definitely, that one was way worse than Papali one. And look, I think if it was the regular season, I think he would have missed at least a week for that. But given it was the grand final, I think that they have a little bit more leniency there. But either way, we get an absolutely cracking grand final. Raiders fans have to be absolutely stoked. It's been a long, long time between drinks for them. And obviously, Roosters fans get to watch their ridiculous team try and go back-to-back. So, look, I think I'm pretty happy with the grand final that we have. I think it's going to be an absolutely cracking matchup. The last time these two teams played, the Roosters did get up, but the Raiders gave them every chance to win that one. So I expect, a similar sort of game to what this Roosters Storm one was. A low-scoring battle, two of the best defensive teams in the comp. And I can't wait. And it's going to be, one of those games where a couple of plays, a couple of bits of brilliance can change the game. Like we saw over the weekend. A bit of Papali brilliance puts the game away for the Raiders. A bit of Tedesco brilliance puts the game away for the Roosters late in the second preliminary final. So, but we are a betting podcast. We have done well this week. 6-0. You can't ask for anything better than that. Plus cash to $15 multi. So, hope you guys were on board. Hopefully you've been on board all year long. If you are listening to us for the first time for some reason, make sure you download the Tripod app. That is where we post all of our tips as soon as we release them. And make sure you join our Facebook group, Tripod Punters Tips Forum. That's where there's a bunch of banter going on, game threads, horse racing threads, etc. there on Facebook. So thanks again for tuning in, guys, and we will catch you at 6 p.m. on Wednesday night on this page to break down the grand final of the NRL. And I think will be our second last pod. We should do a grand final recap. Should be our second last pod of the year. But go and have yourself some dinner, and then we'll catch you on the Tripod page at 7:30 tonight. It's only 5 or 10 minutes, but Nettie will be breaking down his favourite plays of the NFL round, which kicks off tomorrow morning at 3 a.m. for us Australians. So make sure you tune into that one, 7:30 tonight on the Tripod Facebook page. All right, guys, thanks for tuning in. See you guys on Wednesday.